one of the tightest muscles in today's day and age is the hamstrings, which is located at the back of our thighs. And so the first session is going to be on, you guessed it, hamstrings. How do our hamstrings get so tight? Well, there's a number of things that are a contributing factor, but the biggest one in today's day and age is when we're sitting at a desk. So as we're sitting here, we've got a 90-degree angle, like if I could sit a bit better, like on our, between here and our upper legs and torso. And so our bodies aren't designed to sit for long periods of time. And then this creates, it makes us lose our mobility in our hips and then into our hamstrings as well. Our hamstrings tighten up, where we should be standing and moving about our day like this most of the time, like we were back hundreds of years ago. So today's on hamstrings. Take a seat on your mat, grab your massage ball or your trusty can of whatever's your delectable delights in your cupboard and we'll get started. So I'm timing us. We're going to do a quick stretching series and then followed by a mini flow to flush it all out. So I'm going to use the can because it feels really good on the hamstrings. You want to place your can midway between your thigh. Say we're going under the right leg first. So you'll find your hamstring quite easy, and don't be surprised if it's quite tight and it's a bit tender to put some pressure on the can. And what you'd like to aim to do, hands behind, to give yourself a straight back. So some nice posture. Arching your right foot like you're pushing your heel against a wall, and then inviting some gentle movement into the rocking of the ball or the can. And it's going to be zesty. Yeah, you're going to feel it. So don't be surprised if it's really tight and there's a bit of pain there. And we're going to just spend a minute here. So we're 30 seconds in already. And you can invite a bit further of a rock and roll up your hamstring and just move around a little, feel it out. And the closer you go up towards your pelvis is the more firm it's going to be and the more you're going to feel it. So yeah, I really suggest going at about 60% for your first time round. Now swap it over to the left, finding midway between your thigh and straight back, and engaging the left foot. So it's like you're again pushing against the wall and inviting in some gentle rocking. So some issues that can arise from having tight hamstrings is lower back pain. This is a massive cause of having tight hamstrings. Knee pain, as our hamstrings attach to the bottom of our pelvis and they come down around our knee and connect to our two bones, the tibialis and the fibula in the lower leg. And so knee pain is something that can come from having really tight hamstrings. Okay, we'll swap it back over to the right side. Another minute on this side. And really see, yeah, you might find a knot or something that's really particularly tight and just sit on that spot for a second and just let gravity work its magic. Remember to breathe throughout all of this, and you can breathe down into your hamstring and it helps, brings some spaciousness to the muscle and helps it relax. And as you exhale, you can release any tension. Tight hamstrings can also create poor posture throughout our body as it tends to rotate the hip the wrong way. And that causes tightness in the lower back. So Poor posture is really, it starts from lower down, and then you'll see people eventually rounding over as they get older, but that's actually from the hips and the hamstrings because they're such big muscles. Swapping the ball over to the left side. And when we've got, oh, geez, that's tight for me. When we have tight hamstrings, our flexibility is really reduced. Like, there's such a big, strong muscle in our body, and when they tighten up, our calves tighten up, hip abductors, hip flexors, our pelvis gets jammed. Like, it all comes back to the hamstrings and the hips. So that's where we'll focus a lot of the work on throughout this series. And even further down into the feet, you can start to have issues in your ankles and feet off the back of tight hamstrings. All right, we're going to move to our IT band, and you can feel along your quad here and your hamstrings, and there's a band that runs right through the middle, and you'll notice it's much more firm than the other side of either side of that band. So you want to find the ball or get your can, and you could just start here on the side and lean into that. This is really intense, so just take it easy for your first time rolling and feeling into this one. And it just here leaning in might be enough for you to get enough of a stretch, a healthy stretch, and just breathing into that spot. And if you want to invite more, you can begin to roll up and down your IT band. But that is a hell of a lot. That's a full plate right there. And dessert. It's all included in that one. IT love. God, that's killer. But not too much longer. Another 10 seconds on this side. Remembering to breathe deeply. Oh. And swapping it over. And again, just maybe starting as just leaning into it without the leg off the ground. Finding the sweet spot. You'll know when you hit it. I can't say it's a delight when you find the spot, but God, it's something. So you'll know when you've got the spot. And this runs all the way from the your abductor muscles down to your lower leg bones as well. And it's right alongside the hamstring. So some of the things that our hamstrings help us with are bending our knee, walking, running, jumping, squats, standing up. It's basically everything that's essential to our day-to-day lives. So swapping it over. Back onto the right side. And see how you go, leaning in a bit deeper. And it might just be to stay still on one spot. That might be juicy enough for you. So just feel it out and remember to breathe. Breathing in the lightness and exhaling out the tightness, as I've heard a few people like to say, including one of my teachers, Ian Finn, and a shout out to him and all the goodness that he shares with the world. You the man. Oh God, this IT band, it's something special. All right, that's time on that side. Swap it around. And we're going to do one more muscle after this before then inviting in some more mobility stretches and working up to a mini flow. So don't worry, the pain is almost over. Stick with it. I believe in you. Oh, gosh, how wonderful. So, as they say, the issues are in the tissues, and we store a lot of our emotions in our muscles. Some people believe this and others don't, and totally fine wherever you sit amongst it all. I certainly do tend to lean into that. The Body Keeps Score is a terrific book that dives deep into it, and the hamstrings often store some emotions around loss of security, trust, like a breaking of trust, and can often have us stuck in fight or flight mode if they're really tight, like we're ready to run or to fight. So that's time on the IT band, and we're going to come down to our calves. So just moving further down the chain from the hamstrings, it would be good to do some movements of the hips, and we'll bring that in next. So just getting the can out on top of underneath your calf in the middle, and yeah, just inviting a gentle roll here. And so, yeah, the state of our muscles when we're in fight or flight mode, it's as the name says, we're ready to run. So there's got to be some tension in the muscles to explode and run, or fight, which is also tense. And so over time, as our muscles tighten up and we lose our flexibility, it just naturally pushes our body towards more of a stress-induced state, which is not good, really not good. So by stretching it out, we're doing the world of good for our nervous system. Time's up, swap it over to your other leg, your other calf muscle. It might just be enough to sit here. You can play between having an activated foot, like you're pushing against the wall, or letting it go loose. See what feels good for you. Shout out to Chiches Salsiches. If you haven't tried one before, put it on your to-do list. And if you know, you know. I'm looking forward to getting my next serving sometime in 2025 for sure. All right, swapping back over. This is the final lot of rolling with the ball or can, and we'll jump into some movement. And you can go right down to almost the top of the Achilles. It feels kind of nice there. And that's time again, swapping it over for the last roll. And don't worry, we'll be moving very slowly in these videos in this series. It's just all about gentle softening. As I said, modern day age, we can become so tight and rigid just due to how life is and how society has developed. And so this series is about softening and to have a bit of fun. So I hope you can laugh along with me at some points. We'll just see if I'm any funny or not. Alrighty, love that for me and love that for you. Let's get some flow on. And by flow, it's gonna be slow. Put your favorite can of beans aside and let's get into some movement. So just warming up the wrists a little bit. So palms on the ground, just rolling through into the fingers very slowly. flipping the wrists around if that's comfortable for you. It's just to let the wrists know that there's going to be some movement coming in and it doesn't shock them. So it's important, that one. All right, some gentle cat-cows, dipping the belly, lifting the chest up and through, and exhale around. Just intuitive breath. I'm going to invite you to breathe how it feels good for you. Feels like someone's letting off it sounds like some fireworks next door, sorry. If you can hear that in the background. Yeah, I'm inviting some movement in, some intuitive movement as well. Just moving your hips around, rolling back. You might feel those freshly stretched hammies and calves. And bringing the right foot forward now, standing up into a low lunge. And now, so we're going to start inviting some movement into the hips, the front left hip and the left psoas. And so find what's comfortable for you here, and we'll be here for about 45 seconds. So, and some gentle rocking might be nice. You'll feel it in your right hamstring. You'll feel a healthy sort of, not compression, but maybe it's a decompression in the back as you start to just open up the hips, the glutes, and it's kind of like, yeah, it's just opening things up for you. There shouldn't be ever any pinching or intense sensations when we do any of the flows or stretches. So that is a red flag, a flare, and just to back out, maybe take a rest day and come back again tomorrow. So breathing comfortably for you, try to bring your breath down into the belly. It always helps to release the tension throughout the body. And swapping it over to the other leg. Moving the right leg back, left leg comes forward. Feeling the back right foot engaged into the mat, and you'll feel this stretch come through the right side of your quad, up into the right side psoas, your right hip, and then we can gently just start to lean into it. Don't compress into the back. We don't want that, just a straight back. Nice posture. Taking some deep breaths into the left hamstring now. And I'm just going to start providing a bit more space and silence for you to breathe into your muscle and to get into the feeling state without me just yapping all over the top of it. So you'll notice that as we move on, just a little bit more silence for you to feel. All right, coming up to the top of the mat. So, facing the side of the mat, with your feet running parallel to the outsides of the mat, the top and the bottom, and lifting up. So we've got a straight, flat back. I'm going to turn this side as well. And with a bend in the knees, folding over. And we should feel it through both of our hamstrings, maybe a little bit in the inner groin. And just keeping the back nice and flat, so the head and spine elongated and stretched out. And just slowly feel into this one. You might be up here, and that's totally fine. But yeah, we're aiming to stretch the hamstrings out, so just find the sweet spot for you. Like I said, sitting at about 60 to 70% is going to be nice. I'm here for another 10 seconds. Breathing into your hamstrings. Coming back down onto the mat. Right foot forward. Left foot back and engaged in pushing down into the mat. And we're back here for another 45 seconds. So find your 60 to 70% And breathe. And swapping over. Right leg goes back. Left leg goes forward. Engaging through the back. Right foot, like you're kicking into the earth beneath you. So I actually experienced migraines and tension headaches for so long. I tried everything to get them fixed and to get on top of it, and MRI scans and this and that. Could not figure out for the life of me where these headaches, intense migraines and headaches were coming from. And then I started to stretch out my hips and hamstrings, and they went away. It was crazy. I couldn't believe that it was referred from down here, this low in my body. And so that's why I'm putting this series together, is to help everyone rolling around to the side, lifting up, taking a deep breath in to the belly, and exhale, fold. Bend in the knees, slight bend in the knees, and using our hip abductors, the outside of our hips, to bring us further down. But we don't want to round the back. We want to keep that nice and straight so we can target the hamstrings. Here for 30 seconds. That's why I'm creating this series, is to help people feel better in their bodies and to bring awareness to how our mobility and our inflexibility can cause us so many issues that we actually don't know about. I was so blown away when my headaches just disappeared after a month of me stretching consistently. All right, perfect. Dropping down to the mat. Do a couple of half push-ups just with the knees down. It's just warming the shoulders up. Rolling back into downward facing dog. And I'll invite you to pedal out the back of your legs, sinking the heels down. Just finding what feels comfortable for you. And then come to stillness. I'm going to push the hips up and back to really pinpoint that stretch into the hamstrings. That really helps. Bring the right foot forward, stepping up to high lunge. Coming back down to plank pose. Rolling down to a chaturanga, upward facing dog. Don't dump into the back, pull through and up with the chest, rolling back to downward facing dog. So yeah, let's flush it out. Let's get the blood flowing through the hamstrings. Left foot comes forward to high lunge. Staying here for a moment. Hands coming down to frame the front foot, back to plank. Chaturanga, upward facing dog. Don't forget to breathe. Right leg comes through for high lunge. And we're just going to stay here for a moment. Really applying some pressure through that right foot and pulling the right hip back. Really helps engage the right hamstring. Let's open up to warrior two. We spin The arms out wide. Left leg runs parallel to the back of the mat. The left foot. Flip it and reverse it. And rolling on through, hands to frame the front foot, back to plank, chaturanga, upward facing dog, and back to downward facing dog. Left leg comes through, high lunge. Staying here for a few breaths. Trying to pull that left hip back like there's a pulley, pulling your left bum cheek back, whilst you've got the legs strong and engaged. Firm through the back toes as well. Spread the wings, opening up to warrior two. Flip it and reverse it. And rolling on through to frame the right foot, the front foot, back to plank, chaturanga, and upward facing dog. Back to downward facing dog. Our final pose of the class is going to be a squat. So, finding your way to the top of the mat, I'll turn this way. Now, essentially, go easy on this one because it puts a bit of pressure onto the knees. So it might be just up here that feels good for you. You might need to find a wall to sit against. And just figure out, find your 60 to 70%. And so, up against the wall's great to get started. We really want to try and maintain a flat back and allow this to work. This works deep into the upper hamstrings, into our glutes and our hips as well. So it's a really good release for so much. So finding a spot, and we'll sit here for 30 seconds. It's a lot, I know, but I believe in you. And this is a really nice release through the lower back as well. As long as you've got the back straight, we don't want to be rounding over. It just puts pressure into the spinal cord and joints. And remember to breathe. Coming on up, hips rise to the sky, halfway lift, exhale fold, back to plank pose, down to chaturanga, and upward facing dog, exhale back to downward facing dog, making your way to the top of the mat or just to where the top of you're standing, hands go up and high, and let's do a squat for 20 more seconds, that's it, and we're done. So, find your position, take a deep breath in and lower down, breathing out. And you might start up here, like I said, find a wall to support you, that'll be the best way. Your flexibility might be down here. It's taken me years to really get my footing here, but it's not even as nice a stretch as when I'm up against something can really support myself and get deep into the hamstrings and take the pressure off my back. So hands might have me down like this. All right, beautiful. Rolling forward, hips come up, halfway lift. Exhale, fold, rising on up to the top of your mat, hands to touch in prayer overhead, down to the heart space, and gently make your way down onto your back. I'll do a 1 minute Shavasana for you to allow your body to settle and to ground. So finding your way to your back, hands open and wide. Feet can roll out and your body can be totally relaxed. And we'll spend this minute to allow our body to integrate from the stretching that we've done. Allow our mind to settle from the movement. Just taking some deep breaths into your belly. Feeling completely supported by the earth beneath you. The earth that provides us with everything that we need to nourish ourselves and to flourish. And by taking this time to look after our physical body, we're nourishing ourselves, and the earth would be happy with that. And so should you. Gently making your way up, slowly opening the eyes and inviting some movement back into your body. And yeah, this has been wonderful. I'm so excited to put this out. I hope that you have enjoyed it and you're feeling a bit softer in your body. It might take a few times to really get the rhythm going on and to start opening up, but consistency is key with flexibility. And I'm excited to share the rest of the series with you. You can come back to this one whenever you want. Looking forward to it. Lots of love. Ciao.